The first place we arrive on our automobile holiday is this radio transmission station. I like radio towers. They've always fascinated me for some reason. When I was a child, I thought radio towers and power lines were giant robots. Yeah, I was a weirdo. Well, I still am. I do like how the radio tower is framed by the growing portal storm, giving us a solid reminder of both the task at hand and the consequences if we should fail in our mission. The power is not on, and we must descend into the basement of the nearby building in order to restore electricity. When we ride back up the lift into the room above, we are greeted with a very unpleasant surprise. We spy a hunter outside of the window. Alex sounds quite shaken by the appearance of these creatures again, and why would she not be? The last time she saw a hunter, it performed an unanesthetized double nephrectomy on her. This is the first time we face the hunter in combat, and we see its full capabilities, which are elaborate and lethal. It was a real surprise to me the first time I played through this ambush, and discovered that the hunters fired explosive flechettes. I had assumed they would possess an armament similar to the Combine Pulse Rifle. These flechettes stick in any surface, metal, wood, or concrete, but in a way this can be to the hunter's own dismay, for if you hold an object up in front of them with a gravity gun, after they fire the darts into it you can throw it back at them and harm them with their own explosives. There are lots of heavy objects lying about, and if we survive the initial ambush in the building, we quickly discover that the hunter's greatest weakness is blunt trauma, that is, throwing objects at them with the gravity gun. After we beat off the pack of hunters, we're able to contact the White Force base, but only briefly, before the transmission cuts out. There's a brief flash of well, I guess that's the face of an advisor, and we're left to wonder if the advisor itself was able to disrupt the transmission telepathically. As we remember from the advisor pod chamber in the Citadel in Episode 1, the advisors are able to launch some sort of telepathic attack. I called it the acute neurological impairment attack, as I'm fond of medical terminology, but you can call it the ANIA for short if you're so inclined.
Crap. I wonder if we got any of that. Let's get back on the road.
As it turns out, there appears to be an advisor in the immediate vicinity. We come across the crashed part of a Sheulathoi outside of a small farmhouse and barn. Straight away we are affected by the advisor's ANIA, and we quickly discern that the creature must be in the barn. Inside we do indeed find a closed incubation pod in the rafters. We are here alone with the advisor, so the natural course of action would seem to be to kill it. Alex obviously agrees and attempts to interrupt the life support via the console on the wall. However, after we remove the globe of energy from the battery, we quickly fall victim to the Sheulathoi attack. For the first time we come face to face with an advisor. The creature possesses powerful telekinesis and is able to pin both Alex and Gordon to the barn's supports while levitating a number of other objects. We sense that this is a young hatchling Sheulathoi and is only testing its powers as it investigates first a barrel with its protrusion, and then pierces the back of the head of a dead resistance member. Advisors must like the taste of cerebral spinal fluid. It draws us over in front of it and nearly pierces our own head with its protrusion, but its capsule explodes, sending it fleeing through the roof of the barn amidst a frenzy of twirling shingles and boards. When you mention extraterrestrials to most people, they think of one of these things. Boring. These are practically humans. Now, think how dissimilar different species of life are from one another on Earth. Now imagine how different from us a creature from another planet would be, or in the case of the advisors, a different universe. This is what I like about the advisors. They are distinctly alien, and are plausibly so. If I tried to imagine an alien, it would not resemble a primate, it would be closer to something like the advisor. Although one thing intrigues me, and that is that the advisors do not have eyes, and it is often theorized that the majority of life forms on other worlds, at least animal forms, would indeed possess some kind of eyes, as the electromagnetic spectrum is universal, and ways to sense it would be nearly so. There are thousands upon thousands of different kinds of eyes amongst life on Earth. Even plants, while they do not have eyes, can still sense light. After the advisor escapes, the barn is set upon by Combine soldiers, and we discover a new kind of soldier. These fellows wear a sort of reddish-brown uniform and have orange goggles. They also wear the same insignia on their arm as the snowmen. It's very interesting. There appears to be one of these orange snowmen in every squad of soldiers, and they always carry a shotgun. My personal theory is that these orange snowmen are particularly deranged or brain-damaged individuals who have been, you know, quote-unquote volunteered to lead the way into combat. Well, what use would it be driving a vehicle if there were not a high-speed car chase? Despite the fact that the possibility of a car chase is quite likely to occur, it is still an exciting event, and this sequence is one of my favourites in the game. Well, now I say car chase, although in reality we are being chased by a helicopter in a scene reminiscent of the airboat journey in Half-Life 2. When I played through the sequence, I wondered if it would be more or less exciting if instead of being chased by an aircraft, we were being chased more traditionally on the ground by Combine troops in their own vehicles. I know that being chased by vehicles would present some very serious programming and animation difficulties, probably even prohibitively so. And there is also the fact that the Combine do not possess any ground vehicles that could hope to keep up with our Dodge Charger. They do have those black APCs, but to be honest, it seems like those things are electrically powered and would not fare well on rough terrain. During this chase, there are plenty of moments of humour, such as random zombies latching onto the vehicle, and the ample opportunities to run over zombies themselves. Now, this sequence definitely resembles the arcade game Spy Hunter. Now, where is that blasted red truck that will supply us with the smoke screen? We crash into a resistance encampment and are forced to take down the pursuing helicopter in a less than traditional means, which is very satisfying, as nothing is more annoying than that damn helicopter and its unlimited number of mines. After we knock the thing out of the sky, a resistance member who looks strikingly familiar runs over to us. Isn't that Sheckley from back in the mines? Well, Sheckley's brother escorts us into a shop where he assures us they will be able to repair our damaged car. A word of advice, don't mess around with the wine bottle belonging to the man welding on the blue car.
Hey, I was drinking that!
Sheckley's brother explains to us that the way out of the encampment is blocked by a Combine automatic cannon of sorts, and Alex volunteers us to go out amongst the hordes of zombies fleeing the ruins of City 17 in order to destroy it. This autogun is extremely powerful, accurate, and dangerous. In fact, it is nearly as deadly as the Strider's focus energy weapon. Fortunately for us, the autogun also shoots zombies, and in fact it shoots every living thing that is not Combine, including any unfortunate birds that happen to be passing by. Making your way to and then destroying the autogun is great gameplay, for the fact that we are forced to maneuver slowly and deliberately towards the outpost while remaining crouched down behind the junked automobiles, for standing up for even a moment will result in getting our faces burned off by the energy cannon. The Resistance members were not only kind enough to quickly repair the Charger, but also to give us an extra, an onboard radar that will help us track down hidden stores of supplies. I like this feature of the radar quite a lot, for I think it's a unique alternative to what we have become trained to look for throughout the Half-Life 2 series, which is discovering hordes of supplies by looking for the yellow spray-painted Lambda insignia. After we leave the encampment, we get to engage in one of my favourite sporting activities, which is driving over zombies. I just can't get enough of this, and I'm glad to see how often we're provided with this opportunity. I'm sure that in playtesting it was very well established how much players enjoy running down enemies with the car. Now, I'm not a psychologist, but the impression I get is that we all share some deep-seated instinct within our collective subconscious that finds running over zombies an exceedingly pleasurable experience. Nearby the first store of supplies inside of a wrecked van, there is an area where bottles and cans are set up on tables, apparently for target practice. Amongst these containers we see for the first time a few red cans of Dr. Breen's Private Reserve. How fascinating. These cans must be the diet version of the drink, with fewer carbohydrates and more antipsychotics. Another interesting thing that always occurs here is the crow that appears to be trying to attack Gordon. I don't know if this is intentional or if it is some kind of bug, but every time I walk over here the bloody bird starts swooping down on me. I've asked Alex about it repeatedly, but all she says is that we have to get to White Forest. As we drive on, we come to a small village, or perhaps it would be more appropriate to simply call it a cluster of buildings. There is a small gas station with several fuel pumps. Now these are very fascinating because if you look closely at the pumps you will see several words. Especially of note is the word volym, which is the Swedish word for volume, and also the word kron, and krona is the unit of currency in Scandinavian countries. The word summa is also the Swedish word for sum, that is the product of addition, and in the case of the fuel pumps it refers to the total cost of the fuel. Now the logical conclusion is that we must be in Sweden, or at least Scandinavia. However, earlier in the game we saw writing on many buildings in the Cyrillic alphabet which would indicate that we are in a Slavic country. My guess is that all of these clues are left behind simply to confuse us and give no clear indication as to our actual location in order to deliberately keep it a mystery. This ambush at the White Forest Inn by combined forces is really a great action sequence. I think what makes it so exciting is that we're pinned down inside the inn and surrounded by combine outside. Bullets are flying through every window, glass is breaking, chips of wood are flying about, and you have to be aware of a great many things all at the same time. Standing in front of any of the windows can be deadly, so you have to wait until the opportune moment to choose your shots carefully. During this ambush we spend most of our time on the defensive, and this is a refreshing change of pace from our usual offensive behavior. This ambush at the inn is not so elaborate or lengthy that we can try out a wide variety of strategies at our leisure to adapt to the combine's behavior, but the defensive nature of the battle does offer unique styles of combat not found in much of the rest of the game. I enjoy watching Alex fight in this sequence as she takes cover behind walls, yet at certain moments she will turn around quickly and make a few well-placed shots outside of the nearest window. There's just something exciting and special about being under siege like this. Don't get me wrong, I would not want to be in this situation in real life, but here it is quite entertaining. Now probably the most entertaining part of the ambush is the end when the three hunters move in. The hunters quickly adapt to your own behavior and will follow you to wherever in the house you may be located, be it upstairs or in the basement. And if you flee outside, they will follow you there as well. It's really fantastic AI.